We are live.
Isn't this great?
It's fantastic. It's
I love
always,
being in studio, guys.
It's always a different vibe, if you
Yeah.
will.
It feels just much more, obviously personable, but it just feels very great to be here. I love it. It's home. And luckily, we are not dying of a heat stroke today.
We're not. So we're recording this at 11 p.m. on Thursday,
Yes.
and it's dropping at 11 a.m. on Friday.
In exactly 12 hours from now,
Yeah,
you'll be getting,
so-
as you're listening to this.
Listening or
this.
watching.
Yeah, preferably watching,
Yeah.
please.
Yeah.
Again, if you guys haven't done this, like, share, subscribe, and hit the bell notification, as well as follow all our socials as well, too, on the links down below. But also, that way, you're more notified about our own individual shows. I can't speak today. Like Adam's Movie News Monday and TV Inquiry on Thursdays. So
Yeah, definitely. Couldn't said it better myself.
this was like our fifth attempt.
We were recording stuff prior to recording the episodes. But welcome back to the podcast. Welcome back to Our Real Addictions. This is episode 129, our Barbie spoiler review.
Yes.
It's spoiler, but can you really spoil a Barbie movie? You know?
I mean, you do. I had people who didn't even know what the movie was about,
Right.
and then even in the synopsis for it on IMDb is Barbie has a crisis and she's trying to understand herself, and that's all it says, you know. And it's crazy when you really just put one sentence and you have an hour and 56-minute movie come out and be as incredible as it is. I want to say, and I think it's all thanks to Greta Gerwig and her writing and her direction, as well as the full studded cast that we get. Well, that everyone probably shines in their own individual way here. There's absolutely no way. Like, there's standouts for sure, and I'll talk about that absolutely later. But you can tell I bit the bullet and purchased the $65 AMC bundle deal that brings you the Barbie Margot Robbie with her little car, and it actually
Does move.
Yeah, and it has enough space for you to put her in there with some Ken in the back.
So we think.
We haven't tried it out. I haven't unboxed her just because I feel like it's a crime to do so.
Yeah.
I don't know, and then also the resale value. I'm kidding.
So if you need a
Barbie,
we are slanging them
up
officially,
your
Barbie
boys.
and her convertible.
Yeah, and if you're thinking of missing out, you can always buy things online. I feel like when we were at the movie theater, they had told us that it was a bundle set. I was thinking of just getting the car itself for a friend of mine. Shout out to Perla. Love you, girl. And she just wanted the car. She didn't want the Barbie. And apparently, I think online you can buy them separately. But I'm telling you, when people showed up for this movie, people showed up.
Yeah.
There was so much pink. I didn't want to be a weirdo and like record them behind their back, but I feel like I'll eventually see ourselves as background in some of these TikToks because the girlies were out, the couples were out, the kids were out too, which was great. I saw a little family with a little boy and his Barbie doll, and that was incredible to see. And I think this movie is really the fun for a whole family, and it tackles some really great topics about womanhood and, you know.
I think overall just social issues entirely.
Absolutely. It is a Greta Gerwig film, so it will make you think, while make you laugh, while being amazed, while also questioning your own existence too. It's just she just does it so well. It's another good movie from her. She has 5 under her belt officially as of now with Barbie.
Yeah, definitely. Overall, a great film, like you said. Credit to her as a writer and director, but also to Noah Baumbach, who helped her write.
I think that's her husband.
Oh, okay.
I believe, because they were working on it together. And before, I think this movie was actually like a pitch and announced back in 2009, according to the IMDb trivia. It just kept falling off in production hell, in a sense.
Makes sense. I mean, I can see that, and I wonder who would have been Barbie at the time, because like even I had discussed it, how it kind of seemed like a crime not to have Elizabeth Banks
Yeah.
in this film.
Funny enough, you mentioned
know?
that. Also, thank you, IMDb Trivia. Let's sponsor us at some point. But Gal Gadot was considered for the role, but she was committed to other projects, so the role went to Margot Robbie.
Wow.
Yeah,
Back in 2009 or
no, this is recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, when the movie was actually in pre-production and was going to be sent start making and everything. So
I don't want to say Gal Gadot wouldn't have been the right choice, but it's hard to not see someone like Margot Robbie in this role.
Exactly, yeah. And even
just because the whole look and presentation since she came into the Hollywood scene.
Absolutely. And oh my God, Margot Robbie, you have my heart. She's become one of my favorite actresses of recent time. I love you. Thank you for being such a performer, for indulging yourself, because you move mountains with your eyes, girl. My heart was out for you. Every time you showed so much emotion on screen with just either excitement or just showing your beautiful smile, I was seated. Everybody in that movie theater was invested completely with you. And again, even to Ryan Gosling, you were meant for this role for sure. I don't think there was the people that were out here talking about why is Ryan Gosling playing Ken like that is so not him. And dude, the range you have as an actor as well, you are in my top 5 of greatest actors of my recent time, of my time at least. I can't say it. America Ferrera, stand out for sure. I think that was amazing. I also do like the tween actress that we have in there. If Adam, you can get her name for me. She plays America Ferrera's daughter.
Yeah. She is not popping up for me.
Why didn't I credit her? IMDb, huh?
Well, there's a star-studded cast. There's so many Barbies.
There's a lot of Barbies.
And so many Kens.
Simu Liu.
Yeah.
Can you just tell that he was having such a good time with this movie? I feel like he showed up, his performance, he was just having a blast filming this. I saw it in his face immediately. Those were genuine smiles of I'm having such a good time and it's so fun. And I feel like that's what I loved about this movie, because it is a really fun overall movie. And that's just right now us talking, no spoilers, by the way. We're giving you a couple minutes before.
No, yeah, definitely. I think with this film, like you say, everybody was having a good time. Even the less the canceled or discontinued Barbie
Barbies.
Products, which is somewhat spoiler, but obviously Michael Cera was in the film.
Alan,
he's a
right?
as Alan. He is a discontinued Barbie, but somebody like Midge,
the pregnant Barbie.
Yeah, the pregnant,
why did
exactly. Yeah, but before we get into any serious talks of the actual film, its projected box office is currently sitting at 110 million.
Oh.
And it had a budget of about also 100 million. So it is.
I think you said earlier it was 145.
Oh yeah. Sorry, yes, you're right.
Comparing them
it
to
is
the budget for Oppenheimer.
Yeah. So yeah. Thank you for correcting me, because it did have a budget of 145 million. So it's looking to make it back. Oppenheimer had also a budget of 100 million. So they're roughly in the same place.
Yes.
And two completely different films. Also, tomorrow, if you are tuning into this channel on Saturday, we are releasing our Oppenheimer spoiler review talk, because it is these both films are there's a lot to unpack with them. And they're going to be two different style tones of episodes.
Absolutely.
But overall, Barbie is obviously looking to dominate this week over Oppenheimer, and it makes sense.
It could be a close call. You never know. You were stating earlier that it is a Nolan film, and there were so many people, I believe, in our movie theater that were genuinely invested. Shout out to the couple next to me that I was sitting. They were very invested. I saw her on the edge of her seat the entire movie, she was concentrating. And don't get me wrong, I was too, because there were some moments where I'm like, what are they saying? Because there's so much dialogue going on and you can't process it. Mm-hmm. But that's for later.
Yeah. In terms of with Barbie and with this film, and where it compares Oppenheimer to it, I feel like Oppenheimer is gonna have a later tail end, if that makes sense. It's gonna start off slow,
a slow burn,
and then people are gonna pick up. I feel like after honestly, after the majority of the people see Barbie, that's when Oppenheimer is really going to start to pull steam. Cause it's like Chris Nolan film that sells it itself. Yeah. This in its own self, Greta Gerwig, I feel like she is going to like really, really put a stamp on her name, like in Hollywood, especially now. A couple of weeks ago, we discussed how she's joining Netflix to do at least 2 films
of the Chronicles of Narnia.
Yeah, for the reboots of Chronicles of Narnia. But
she name dropped a couple of films that were influenced on Barbie, with alongside some musicals such as Grease, The Wizard of Oz, Oklahoma, Singing in the Rain. Some of the movies that she was influenced by was by a director named Demi. I need to get the first name. It might be the last name that I'm addressing, but just to double check that. However, it's most of these films are like in the 60s, 70s, and these are world building films that the directors have their time. And obviously it's evident with Barbie, because Barbie Land was a whole world of its own. And yeah, it was, I feel like I mean, of course there were some CGI elements of it, but I feel like most of it was actual stage, like actual production built, and that's fantastic. And of course it's just, and even to the point where like the color, like pink was almost in a, I think it was like back ordered because they had ordered so much pink for the sets, and like they couldn't, they were like, hey, we're running low on this.
Your local Best Buy was sold out on pink paint. For sure.
Home Depot?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah. Home Depot. What am I thinking here?
I was like, they start selling paint at Best Buy?
Apparently.
I gotta go there now.
Yeah, Home Depot. Excuse me. I said that so confidently, too.
It's okay. It was a good bit.
Yeah, hey, it is what it is. But yeah, first things first. You want to get in? Just get right into it. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, how Lizzo just went and ruined this film with her such a disturbing of a song. She had the worst song on the
narrator.
Soundtrack.
Like she wasn't the narrator. She was the narrator for Barbie Land, but there was a narrator for the overall film.
Yeah, that was Helen Mirren.
Narrator. Yeah, Helen Mirren. And then there was a narrator for the Barbie Land, in a sense, where she's like, "You gotta wake up every day."
That was just in the first 5 minutes, and she just ruined the first 5 minutes of this film with her song, and thankfully she did not make an appearance in this film.
I'm surprised she didn't.
Yeah,
but her voice was present.
I'm not.
It's funny because immediately when I heard it, I went over to Adam and I was like, "That's Lizzo." She goes,
oh. Yeah, the film's 0 out of 10 for that.
No, it's not.
0 out of 10 simply for having Lizzo involved.
Oh my God.
Because anything
the hatred is strong.
Yeah, I will admit to it that I got beef with Lizzo.
That's true.
Okay, I got beef. Yeah. Okay, so if Lizzo ever watches it, I got beef. Yeah. But I'll happily have her on the podcast.
Oh my God, I'd love to have her on the podcast. Even if she's like not physically present, if she's through Zoom, girl, please join us. We'd love to talk to you about anything. I'd love to see Lizzo more. And I'd love to see her as her own female lead in some movie at some time.
I would never want to.
Like Greta Gerwig.
I would never want to see that.
I'd love to see that. Are you kidding me? She's so joyous. Anyway, the point of being Barbie, she does have an existential crisis. It's in the trailer as well. She's like, "Do you ever think about death?" Amazing dance sequences, by the way. Love the choreography. Super funny. Ryan Gosling had everybody cracking up, even in serious moments. He was just so unserious, but also so serious of the Ken energy.
The whole film was an unserious but serious film.
Yeah, its pacing was great. I felt like the pacing was fine, except towards, I think we were both agreed, towards the third act. There was a very hard, entering the third act, there's a very, very heartfelt monologue made by America Ferrera.
Yeah.
Who is trying to get the Barbies back to their mojo.
Yeah. Important, feel like wrongfully placed, though.
It was weirdly
It
was in a good place,
yeah.
But then what followed up after, that was weird. Like, I think that was like...
Well, because like the film was going at like a relatively fast pace, and then they decided to do like that 5-minute scene with America Ferrera inspiring the Barbies.
Monologue, too.
Yeah, it dragged on, and I feel like it it really messed up the momentum that they were building this entire film.
I disagree. I just felt like I think
Mm-hmm.
it was gridly placed, but just especially because of the message. I think
Yeah.
it was at that point.
The
where,
the message is fine.
Yeah, I think it was at the point in terms of the narrative that it was like, okay, now we're like, okay, we're at a climax right now.
Mm-hmm.
Where's the resolution?
Yeah.
You know, and I think we were entering that, and then the dance number that followed after with the Kens, that was funny, but also I was like, oh my god, this is dragging. Like
That dragged on a little bit too. Yeah,
yeah,
for sure. I feel like with the beginning of the the America Ferrera speech is where you really started to feel the time in the film, and you're like, oh, okay, like, you know, like it's kind of like it feels like the film is kind of needing to wrap up.
Yeah.
But then it goes on and continues for another like half hour.
Exactly.
You know,
yeah, it does feel like that, which I think it was by choice.
Yeah, for sure, obviously.
Because overall, it's still like the movie is less than 2 hours. It's 4 minutes shy from being 2 hours. But even then, I was like, I went in there thinking it was an hour and 30 minutes, and the entire time I was like, oh my god, please don't let it end, because I was like having such a good time with it. But I think there was that part. I think that's the only part I can really think about. Everything else, like you can't try to add logic to this movie. It's a Barbie movie.
No, not at all.
There's some scenes,
not at all,
and there's even Will Ferrell's character. Will Ferrell, that's another gripe too. That's the second one. Will Ferrell, the Mattel executives,
the CEO.
They were just there.
Yeah, there's no importance for them.
They were supposed to technically be the bad guys, or like regulation cops, but what ended up being a surprise turn of events was Ken.
Yeah,
Ken joins Barbie in the real world, but they both go on separate journeys. Barbie Land is all womanhood, women are in charge, feminism, like proud to be like strong and supportive and everything. That's like that's Barbie Land. That's what Barbie thinks she's, you know, that's how she thinks that the real world is like, because they're all aware of the real world, and they're all Barbies played by actual people, so they have their own connections, which I think was a fun element to add. It was kind of like the imprinting thing, in like Twilight, but like less creepy, you know, because there's that honestly like heartfelt connection when a toy meets, you know, a child, and it even starts off that way. It starts off with the narrator being like, Helen Mirren be like, at the beginning of time, you know, women or children, specifically little girls, always like had their first dolls, but they were always baby dolls. And then in comes Barbie, right? And then we have her as this monumental, you know, colossus.
Yeah.
And she's standing around, and we get this great scene of the little girls just like bashing their baby doll head, like their
wanting
baby
a
dolls,
Barbie.
wanting a Barbie. There we go with the creation of her, which I think was a really fun and energetic way to start the film.
Yeah, it set the tone of like, how unserious this film is.
You know, it came off as documentary, and then it was like record scratch. We're going to Barbie Land, and then we're into it. And off the bat, it rolls off really well. We going back to Ken and Barbie. Barbie's trying to find her human because she is now finding a crisis. She's like, I'm flatfoot. You know, like I had bad breath in the morning, and my shower was cold. Like, what is happening to me right now? Like, who am I? Because technically, she is stereotypical Barbie. You know, there are a lot of Barbies, but they all have their own roles. And she comes to this like wall, and she's like, who am I? Like, why do I question myself? Why am I not good enough? Am I ever going to be good enough? And those are some of the themes that are playing out, because it's, even though there is a specific target audience for this film, it is very universal. It's a very universal theme where it makes you question too your role as a man in this world, and your privileges when it comes to things like that, compared to women. And I think it's very nice.
I think it's not necessarily like, it's like the self, like the stereotypes on both sides,
right?
You know, like
addressing,
the whole,
addressing the
not knowing
roles.
your roles, and I think that was like the film, because even like Barbie had issues of like her being like literally of her being the stereotypical Barbie, and her having that existential crisis, because there's other Barbies who are smarter than her, who are more, you know, who are more important. Exactly.
Doctors,
you know, whereas
Nobel Prize winners.
Literally, her importance is that she's the poster girl.
Exactly.
And she has an issue with that.
Absolutely.
Whereas Ken is just Ken. He has a
exactly.
self-identity. They both have self-identity crisis.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's what really builds like the film like really, really well, because playing on the stereotype of like the patriarch, like patriarch. Yeah, exactly. You know,
that Ken finds out through just going to the library and getting books and being like, why is the world run by men, and why do they have horses?
Men, well, they were ruled by men and horses. That was like the whole thing.
He loves horses.
Yeah.
Ken loves horses in this. And with Ryan, it just becomes that world, and they both come to each other and they're like, I fixed it. I figured it out. And they're like, well, how do you just like, well, men, this world is ruled by men. And then she's like, wait, what? And she, you know, it kind of gets overlooked, but then it just progresses. And Ken goes back to Barbie Land and completely dominates Barbie Land. And now it's called Kendom.
Yeah, Kendom.
And then you have the, oh man, Mojo Jojo Casa something,
yeah,
and then it starts hitting the shelves in the real world, and they're like, Mattel is like, hey man, like we're making money off this, whatever you guys are doing, keep doing it. But it was apparent that everything that they did in the Barbie Land was a hit anyway, because even though it turned into Kendom, and that took a whole wild turn. That was ultimately the message for Barbie, being like, I'm just an accessory to you. How does that feel? Yeah. And, you know, Barbie coming to terms with that too, you know, because she does mention, she's like, I love him, but not in that way. Yeah. And I never meant to hurt him, but he needs to like stop. He needs to like, he needs to get out. Like he basically just like mansplained the entire Barbie land.
Yeah. Because even in like the beginning of the film, they say, oh, Ken has a good day when Barbie acknowledges him.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just like, and it's funny because like, I feel like it addresses like the state of like both like gender roles in like today's society, where it's just like the whole like that third act where it's just like, oh, just act like you're listening to him, or like you're in need of help, which is like 100% true. Is where like, yeah, you know, the just the way of like you know, they're handling the film. I feel like it was very true to how like things are in today, like for both like gender roles, and it was building on those stereotypic like things. Is like, yeah, those are literally things that are like, I feel like are happening in today's like world and society.
Of course,
you know, and it's just like, but like, you know, Ken wanting to feel like he's enough, you know, but Barbie also wanting to again find out who she is, because she doesn't know who she is. Yeah, you know,
and she pieces it together, and even then too, Ken does have a moment, you know, where they both working each other out. They're like, maybe it's never like it's Barbie and Ken, but maybe it's Barbie and it's Ken, you know? And I know that sounds like ridiculous. Once, obviously, if you've seen the movie, which while you're here, it transcribes completely well. And it turns out to be, you need to find out what you want for your own self first, because your whole purpose was to please me or like not please me, but like just like, you know, be with me, but no, like have some individuality. One of the most beautiful shots I think that we get is when Barbie is running away from the executives at the Mattel in the real world, and as she's escaping, she goes into this room, and it's just literally a kitchenette, and it's this lady who is very important, and we find out later that her name is Ruth Handler, and she is the creator of Barbie. Yeah. But there's just a small, you know, interaction between them, and she just, you know, she has tea with her, and she goes like, what's wrong? You know, like, what's going on? She's like, no, you're just perfect. And she's like, am I? And then she responds, yes, you're everything that I think you ever will. You're Barbie. And there's that little hint there of like, oh, this is going to come back. And it does. And it's a really fun and full circle moment. And, you know, we also have America Ferrera and her character with her daughter. You know, we find out that her actual connection to the real world isn't her daughter. It's actually America Ferrera. You know, she draws her. She started doing cellulite on Barbie, you know, so she has cellulite, and then she starts getting depressed, and then she's like sad, and she's like first time experience crying. And Margot Robbie just brings you on this role with her a roller coaster ride of emotions with her because she is incredibly talented of stealing a scene with just her face and her eyes and her expressions. And she may have like one or two bits of dialogue and you'll feel so much. And I think I'm very glad that they went with that casting choice because she is a standout and she's proven herself to be amazing. I honestly feel like that's I would consider both America Ferrera, Ryan Gosling, and Margot Robbie like Oscar nominees here. I don't know if that's pushing it, but I feel like feel like it's worthy of that.
Yeah.
Of that because she did fantastic.
No, 100%.
And the material isn't like corny. I mean, like it can be corny, and it's a Barbie movie, so it can be like you can fetch it off like it's not going to be Oppenheimer, but it's like, but the film is.
Here's
what
here's what I'll say to this. If Don't Look Up can get nominated for Best Motion Picture, so can this film.
Absolutely.
So can this film. I don't know if it's tough to say with the Oscars just because of how dumb they like to be.
Yeah.
So for them to overlook, is this one of the better films of the year? I would have to say, yeah.
Oh, 100%.
In all honesty, yeah. We've had a lot of bad films
so far
this season or this year, I should say.
I think what was it? I think I said in a previous episode too. I know it was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3.
Obviously, across the Spider-Verse.
Beyond the Spider-Verse.
I know you haven't seen it, but Past Lives is definitely
that's another one. Yeah, and then Barbie and Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
I feel so far as from
not much has been like, oh my god.
Unless we're missing something. Okay, January
Scream was solid, but
Scream was solid. For me, it's gonna be up there, but it's like for horror, it's I mean, I hate doing that because they discredit horror at the Oscars all the time too.
Yeah.
There's some movies that should be Oscar nominees,
Yeah.
And some performances. But I see America Ferrera as Best Supporting Actress. Ryan Gosling as Best Supporting Actor. Possibly, and then Margot Robbie as an Oscar lead.
Yeah, for sure.
So I see it. For sure.
Yeah, I can see that happening probably than them putting Barbie in Best Motion Picture for sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, who knows? I love the whole in the film where, like you say, it again, it goes back to America Ferrera, and the story is really about her.
Yeah.
And there's really like that choice, and again, it goes back to the self-identity because her kid's growing up and her kid's changing.
Yeah.
And it's like the whole she's not accepting of that, and she really has those dark thoughts, and then how her daughter kind of calls her out that she isn't she goes, you're lonely, you're dark, and something else,
and like you're weird, but like
but
that
you
makes
don't
you
but you don't really allow that to show you, like if like you again it's dealing with the whole identity, and I feel like this film is like an underlying like trying to find your identity, like who it is, because even in like I know it's so subtle and it can be seen as a joke, but in one of the scenes, Ryan Gosling's wearing a sweater that says "I'm Knuff," and it's just like, and it's just so funny, but like that's literally his mission in the film.
Yeah,
it's
to be enough for Barbie, and to be enough for himself in the long run.
Mm-hmm. And for them to paint him in the picture of him like ultimately being like the antagonist.
Yeah,
but the way it's like just written of like how. And such a joke it is, like I think it just overall just works. Like the film just works
very well. Again, Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach.
Yeah,
flowers to you. I'll send them immediately because you guys did fantastic. I remember there was a writer who skipped on the film because she goes and states, I will not name her, why would I make a movie about a doll that isn't really much other than just the superficial? And it was like, girl, you're missing the point. Like, obviously, like you weren't kind of thinking out the box, and maybe you should have. I'm glad that they didn't go to that person, because clearly there's a message here. And maybe also too, I bet there was a stress. Maybe that's why it was in production hell so much, because technically this is the first live action Barbie. We've seen an animated Barbie in Toy Story. Yeah. Different variations of that. But to see it be well produced and executed has been a blast, and I'm very happy. And I would definitely reconsider seeing this movie again. I'm probably catching a showing sometime this weekend because I want to see it again that bad. I want to be happy. It makes me joyous, but also hurts me. I did cry a couple times. I don't know if you saw. So,
I didn't.
I was telling him I get very emotional when it comes to movies, and especially with the movies that have like a strong meaning and message. And
overall, yeah, like because like when you really look at the film, yeah, there's a lot of deep meanings of like, again, these social topics that go on in like these everyday lives. And I feel like it's just so easy not to take this film serious because it's just like the way it presents itself.
Right.
And I think that has to go in because it is a Barbie film and this is centered around the stereotypical Barbie. This film is also going to be in that sense where we're stereotyping in the sense like, oh yeah, you're not going to probably take this film serious, but then you go and watch it, and then for someone, for example, like you got emotional watching it, and it's just like because of how much it connected with you in that sense. And I think like that's where it's,
it worked because I bought $65 worth of this, and that was after seeing the movie. It wasn't before. I was like, oh no, I can't do that. And then after, I was like, I'm buying it. You got me, AMC.
For sure.
1,000. Thank you for saying that. Because it does, and it honestly, again, too, I feel like you enjoyed it very much as well, too, and I feel like that's a demographic that's a little different, and they even poke a little bit at like our demographic too, where they make fun of the Snyder, Justice League cut and The Godfather, and just little things about like how crucial and important films are, but usually it's always kind of like the male leads roles in that sense, and now this is kind of like a staple to that too. Like, I feel like it's a great. I think Barbie is a really fun summer movie with a lot of heart and a lot of meaning. And I really hope they don't do a sequel because I think it was
one and
perfect.
Done. Yeah, maybe you can get away with the second one.
There's a rumor about being a Ken movie out there, which could work. But also too, I feel like his growth was made a lot here with himself. Because even when he was evidently what it turned out to be the villain of the story, the true villain of the story.
Yeah.
He was hurting too. He didn't want to hurt Barbie, but he wanted some revenge on an emotional level where he's like, how does that feel for you?
Yeah.
Like you don't have a house anymore. Like, and it's even addressed as like, so if all the Barbies have their own house, where are all the Kens?
Yeah.
And they never answered it.
She's like, oh, I don't know. At the beach. Like, yeah.
Like, that's all I could assume, that they're just beaching.
Yeah, no, for sure. I feel like in the terms of like sequel talk, if it makes a lot of money, without a doubt.
Estimated? Because of course, aside from the 100 and something million, what do you overall think this movie is going to do domestically and worldwide?
Worldwide, I don't know. I don't want to undersell it. I also don't want to oversell it. I don't know.
I see it at a 5 or 6.
Okay, I was thinking a lot more.
Really?
I'm thinking like 800 million worldwide.
It could possibly be. Yeah. I mean, there's already.
It just feels like it's so popular. It's like it was such like what people were talking about
for so long. Yeah. And I love the fact that it did not disappoint, because I think from the moment the first trailer came out, everybody was like, this is going to be good.
Yeah.
And I feel like because everybody was talking about it, it was like manifest. Like it presented out to be. And again, and Greta Gerwig we trust because she delivered completely, and all the actors are fantastic. Again. But people showed up. Like, I mean, of course, like we did talk about in the previous episode that it was 20,000 people doing a double feature for AMC.
Us included.
And that's 100% fact, because I did see someone with the Barbenheimer shirt, one side pink, one side black. And then we had the girlies come out all in pink. I saw some beautiful couples, doing their little thing. One of them was like in that gorgeous, actually she had a similar dress just as this Barbie here, and he had a really nice pink leather.
People were going on in full dresses and heels to this film, which is like
you guys are like, at the club, or are you coming from the club?
Yeah, like I understood like it was gonna be like a cultural impact. I just didn't think it was gonna be like this crazy, where it's like people are showing up like that.
Like, this is people's
very
Avengers.
This is very influential.
Absolutely,
it's gonna be an influential film, and I think like. I don't know. I feel like 800 million. I don't know. Maybe I'm overselling, but I just feel like.
Who knows, man? I did undersell with 5 or 6, but we'll see how far. I think it's a really good movie, and it's a really good placement right now for summer, especially at the time right now when things are getting a little hot. We got August heat coming in. and people want to go out and have be in an AC room. What other than the movies or the beach? And then that catapults into things. I felt I did like it. I enjoyed it so much. I'm really glad I was able to see it with you.
Yeah, definitely.
And to be able to be here in the studio and review it. I guess that pretty much sums up my review of it. Unless you have any other.
No, I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, it was an enjoyable film. I'm glad it was Greta Gerwig who did it. It's just like I feel like you want somebody who's who can write and knows how to tell a story. And she obviously has proven time after time that she's able to do that.
Yeah. I mean, 5 collectively good movies under your belt, and they're consistently good.
Yeah,
and target different demographics. Like you're building a good career here.
You're kind of getting into that.
The big leagues.
Yeah, I don't want to say like there's no big female like directors and like that, but she had, dare I say, she has the potential to be in the Tarantino talk, the Nolan talk, the Scorsese, the Spielberg, especially at the rate like she's doing films. She's not doing one every single year. She's not doing one every couple of years. She's doing them when she feels it's right.
Right, yeah. And I hope she's behind the pen a little more too, because I mean, I don't know exactly. It is a stress to also write and direct, but at least once you know that it's written by you, you know exactly what to do.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a better way for where I feel like sometimes movies fail when there's a really good script, but the direction's bad.
I think we also gotten used to the fact with like what Marvel did, what Disney and Marvel did, where they weren't, where directors a lot of times were just hired in to just direct. There was no writing. A lot of the time, like in Hollywood, a lot of these directors do write majority of their scripts, if not all of the script. If not, they play influential parts to that script writing, where it's just like they pen majority, like I said, majority of the script, if not all. And I think it's nice when you have these directors also penning their stuff, because in a sense, like that kind of goes back to like the early days of, I'm sure, when they were filmmaking, because early on when when you're nobody, you write, you direct, you edit, you are the producer, you're everything that has to be in it when you want to get your name out there. So it's just like I think like there's a sense of like keeping that, the groundings of becoming a director or becoming involved in the film industry.
Absolutely. Very good point.
But overall, I think Barbie's gonna make a lot of money. I mean,
I love this movie, man.
I wonder how much they're gonna make off of these alone.
People were buying them too.
Yeah,
people were. And they brought.
We got handed a free popcorn.
Yeah,
that we threw away.
Thank you so much to those girls again. Yeah. You guys were really well. Midway through Oppenheimer, I was like, damn, I should have kept the popcorn.
At that point, it would have been stale though.
I would have just drenched it in Tapatio.
Oh my goodness,
that's just me. And I always bring my little tahini bottle too, so we good here. Actually, what's new? Sorry, this is off topic. Olive oil and tahini.
On
game
popcorn?
Changer. Yes. Preferably not the buttery one, because that is kind of like just regular popcorn, no butter.
I feel like I've mentioned this on the podcast before. Don't knock it till you try it. Mustard and popcorn.
What?
Mustard and popcorn. Do not knock it until you try it.
What mustard? Like what kind of mustard? Just regular mustard?
Heinz?
No. I mean, like, how there's like hot mustard and
just regular.
Like,
not deli mustard, not regular, like not honey mustard.
Cool.
Regular mustard, popcorn.
Have you ever mixed your mustard with pickle juice before?
No, I hate pickles.
Damn.
Pickles are gross. Hey, here's the thing. I'm going to be honest. This is completely off topic. They remind me of just like really big boogers, and that grosses me out.
Oh, why did you say that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Get that out. Good luck getting that out of your head. Yeah.
No, I'm getting it out. I love pickles.
It
took me a while to like pickles and mustard. It wasn't until I started working at a deli that I liked them.
Back to the point, though. Barbie is fantastic. What would you rate it out of 10?
Oh, my God, a 10.
A 10?
I give it a 9.5.
All right.
Just because of that 5 of, like... don't get me wrong. I love seeing Will Ferrell, but I wish he had more to do instead of just, like... Oh!
Yeah, because you know what? I thought he was going to be the same character that he was in the Lego film.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's cool.
And not like, okay, they're doing it in a connected universe, but just like, just to have just like...
poke fun. Yeah.
I thought that would have been funny to do.
Yeah. And I mean, like, I liked them, but they were just kind of running around, and then one of them gets shot, which is so funny.
They were pointless. They were pointless.
They just didn't serve the film when the reality was that, technically they were just there to be like, we'll clean up the mess that you guys made, but you guys have to stop, when the reality was that Ruth Handler was like, hey, I'm the creator. Like, these are my puppets, but I'm ROB,
Yeah.
I don't think that's what that, no.
Who knows?
Who knows anymore?
Who knows?
But the best thing about this movie, and I just want to say it, the movie ends with her going to a gynecologist.
That's pretty funny. It's an inside joke.
It's hilarious.
It's like an inside joke of them being made about plastic.
It's so funny. It's just so subtle and funny.
Yeah.
And you like the setup is perfect.
If you don't know what a gynecologist is, that joke goes over your head to end the film. Yeah. It was pretty funny.
It's fantastic. For someone who's who you were like, what? They're like, just ask your friends, specifically girls.
Yeah. If you have that relationship, if you're comfortable with them asking. Yeah. If not, just Google it.
Or
it's not rocket science to figure out what it is.
People. Yeah. Anyway,
I think if I had to rate this film 0 out of 10, because Lizzo had a song in it, so. Yeah,
give me your real review.
Okay, -1 out of 10 because of Lizzo.
Give me your
No, I'm gonna give. I feel like 9s and 10s are just too generous. Because then you're touching perfection.
Okay.
No film is perfect. No, see, that's fine. That's fine. If you rate it like that, me personally, I'm gonna give it a 7.8 out of 10.
What?
Yeah.
Really?
I mean, it's a good film. Don't get me wrong. I enjoyed it.
Okay.
About an 8. It's an 8, roughly.
Yeah, I would give it an 8.
It's an 8 out of 10.
Right. 9.5 just because I'm biased. But I'm definitely seeing this movie again, and if I see any more flaws, I'll
it's usually how it always is after the second time around.
It made me want to see this movie again. After we got out of the movie, I'm like, oh my god, I want to go back in.
Yeah.
And we could have, just
could have.
We had another. We did the.
We had Oppenheimer to see. It was the Barbenheimer premiere.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean overall, it's gonna make a lot of money.
So much money.
I'm pretty overall it's a good solid film, But yeah, I think that's gonna do it.
Yes, please go check out this movie if you haven't. It's really great. Make your own opinions. Come back to the video. Maybe share a little more with us if you like on our Instagram at Our Real Addiction, as well as our Twitter at Our Real Pod. Our socials on the links below. And again, please subscribe, and share, and hit the notification button for more upcoming videos.
Yep.
That's it.
I think that's
we're
gonna do it. All right, guys. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Prefer you guys to watch rather than listen, because you can be in studio with us, and Miguel said, subscribe. But that's gonna do it for episode 129 of Our Real Addiction, which was a special episode of the Barbie open spoiler review. As always, I'm Adam.
I'm Miguel.
Sick Harvest Magnet.
Sick Harvest Magnet.